Welcome to Leaders and Learners. My name is Tanya McKenzie, and you can find me at the intersection of public relations and leadership. Join us as we talk to organizational leaders, elected officials, experts, authors. Welcome to Leaders and Learners. My name is Tanya McKenzie, and you can find me at the intersection of public relations and leadership. Join us as we talk to organizational leaders, elected officials, experts, authors, artists, and personalities, sharing their stories, talking about how they got to where they are and how they continue to learn and lead the way. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to another edition of Leaders and Learners, where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. Today, we are having our PR Perspectives episode, talking about all things public relations, whether it's the Olympics, politics, and culture. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my crew, Miss Chandra Gore. How are you, Miss Chandra? And Mr. Daniel Smith.
What's up? What's up?
I'm great. Hi, everybody.
Excited to be here. We want to go ahead and get into all things politics, sports, and culture. But before that, because it's been so long, let us know what you've been up to. Miss Chandra?
Ooh, okay. Rebranding and getting some things ready to launch personally for my personal brand, but also working with some amazing clients who have amazing stories and forever learning about public relations and, how comms is really changing how we speak to, it's changing, it's ever changing. So, learning and growing. So that's what I've been up to. And also not being petty and very professional.
Daniel, what's going on with you? What have you been up to?
Right now I'm in this political season bag, so just checking that, running day to day. That's pretty much it. And like Chandra said, I'm kind of rebranding right now as well. We're going to relaunch here in a couple weeks, a new website and those types of things. So just working on elevating, trying to stay at your level.
Stop. And we have Mr. Brian Hart. Sir, what's going on with you? How have you been?
Doing good. Yeah. For me, this is the time of year when I become very popular during the weekdays. So business is back in full swing. Have a lot of fun campaigns I'm working on, gearing up for what should be a wild and productive fall.
Sounds good. Make sure you keep us posted. Make sure you always let us know how we can help, how we can support, and elevate the conversations and the stories that you guys are working on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into all the things to get into right now. So I threw together this. I love Prowley. They always provide us with some great insights. And as a PR firm, I have to tell you, it definitely gives me something to think about that maybe I wasn't thinking about before. So we know we have the Olympics. Snoop, can we talk about Snoop Dogg and how he was all Olympic gold medal styled and profiled the entire time? Who wants to get it going? Miss Chandra.
I will say his team, they facilitated and they executed that perfectly, from the merch, from his attire to the events that he attended and moderated. And then when he was joined by his sidekick, Martha Stewart, it was chef's kiss. They need to actually do a study and publish that so other teams can actually learn from that, because he was everywhere and he made the Olympics relatable and also interesting. So I will say, his team, kudos. I hope you hear this and know that, yes, y'all did that. You all did that. Like it, I can't talk about it enough. Like the brands who made his actual outfits and stuff like that. The Olympics was elevated because of him.
Okay, so I think they were testing it last year. So over the last year, he has actually appeared on a few different sporting events commentating, whether it be Major League Baseball, or I think he did a little bit last year with he's done some things with Kevin Hart. So I think the way that they rolled him out, though, has, like you said, it needs to be studied, but they were testing the audience before they went ahead and just gave him the Olympic platform, because it feels right now like they just gave it to him. Like they was like, here, this is yours, handle it. I don't know.
It was a build up, but it was perfectly executed. People were familiar with him, and he actually, he found his rhythm, because some of it was hit and miss at the beginning, but yeah, he found his groove, and he executed it perfectly.
Like my kid said, he ate that down. Okay, he ate that down.
Hey, for as much money as he got paid, he lived up to what it was supposed to be, because he got what did they say, about $447,000 daily he was making, so a total of $9 million he made during the Olympics. I mean, I would be where I needed to be as well for all of that. Plus, he brought, like you said, some culture to it. Some people watch certain aspects of it that he didn't. And a lot of the stars love to look. I mean, the competitors love to look up and see him sitting in the stands, and so it was a good thing to see. Now, there was a lot of other stars that were there, but I don't think none of them got the highlight or shine that Snoop did. Only other one I saw was Flavor Flav. What he did
because his philanthropic stuff,
with the swimming. But other than that, Snoop owned it. He used to do that commentating with Kevin Hart. And him and Kevin Hart would do it, but I see Kevin Hart and Kenan Thompson now are over on Peacock, and Snoop said, "I'm gonna ride this bag out." They didn't get paid nowhere near what Snoop got, so I'll be at everything for $9 million for a week.
Brian, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Snoop. It's been pretty awesome to watch him rise to be this ultimate brand ambassador. A few decades ago, you probably would not have envisioned that. Snoop for a long time was seen as a bit of a controversial figure. We know what his biggest hobbies are. They weren't quite in alignment with what NBC Sports and all the other sports broadcasters wanted to put out at the time. But now you have seen, the public embrace him for the icon that he is. And I love that the Olympics brought him in. And I, you alluded to this prior. I mean, we've seen the NFL start bringing him in more. We see his visibility within the NBA. Now the Olympics is perhaps the biggest global stage he can be on. And he's continuing to bring positive visibility to athletics, with his presence there.
So what do you guys think about the fact that Sha'Carri Richardson couldn't even be in the Olympics last year because of marijuana? And then we get Snoop as the ambassador. And like you said, Brian, we know what his favorite hobby is.
I think the actual optics of marijuana is changing. The views on it is changing. Yes. And so for him to be such a proponent of marijuana use and things like that, I think that, even though most of us are like, okay, we get it, what it is, but it's actually being able to change that view. Like everyone's like, oh, when he had his court case and stuff like that, he's actually been able to kind of change the imagery, and the association of certain things, like, because Martha Stewart's the felon, he's not, like that kind of, mindset. Let's be real. Okay.
Oh, we're getting into felonies now. Okay. I thought that was down the line, but go ahead.
She don't have as many, but she's a felon. We can just go leave it at that, But he's actually changed the views of people who partake in marijuana use, those who have been through the criminal justice system. He came out ahead. He's not a convicted felon. So those thoughts, because he was a gangster rapper, how he started out, but now the view has changed. He's a family man. He is a grandfather. He is all of those things. And for him to be on this global platform, it's changing the imagery of Black men. Let's just call a spade a spade. The imagery of Black men it's not that wholesome. And he's actually taking that and made it more relatable and understandable, and actually allowing on a global stage to see that the imagery that people have been fed is not all true, and he's a perfect example. So he did a lot of, it's multi-tiered on what he's done just with the Olympics. So I am for one, I can't stop smiling, because it's like, yes, let's keep changing the narrative. And then Flavor Flav too, come on,
come through. Daniel, you look like you had something to say.
No, I was just saying, it's funny that you say it that way, but I know it wasn't necessarily the Olympics that kept Sha'Carri out. It was more or less just the rules around the athletes competing, but like you said, the narrative. I know Snoop lit one up while he was there in Paris. So they already, you can tell from some of his reactions when he lifted glasses up, his eyes was bloodshot red. And I'm like, yep, that's Snoop right there. So I think that like Chandra was saying, though, the narrative around marijuana is starting to change. It's becoming one of those things like, hey, we got cigarettes, we got alcohol, we got all this other stuff that, we've been allowing, it's about time. So hopefully we start to see that more on a global scale.
I want to take it a bit further since we are going to get into rollouts. I think it was excellent of them to use Snoop as the rollout for the next Olympics. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, I'll agree. I mean, with them coming to Los Angeles, I mean, who better of an LA figure to, set the stage for that than Snoop Dogg? Applaud to that. I do want to pivot back to one thing that we touched on. I mean, I was a little bit of a slacker watching the Olympics, although I did watch the U.S. men's basketball team because my favorite player right now, Joel Embiid, came to the U.S. team. And I know that was controversial in Paris. They wanted him on the French national team. U.S. got him. He played excellent. U.S. got it done. But when we talk about Snoop Dogg and how, mainstream sports are now embracing figures that they would have previously kind of cast aside. I mean, as a Philadelphia sports fan, I remember back when Allen Iverson was eligible to play for Team USA, and they didn't even consider that. And we're talking about one of the best pound for pound NBA players, basketball players of all time. They wouldn't let him on the team. They wouldn't even consider him because he had tattoos and he had cornrows. I do like seeing the evolution now because we did embrace athletes who express themselves and express their culture and who they are. That is a very positive step that was made this year.
Love that. So they talked about Paris being a place where the Olympics was held. It's driving tourism. I think that it opened up a lot of people's imagination to what Paris could be like because there's so many of us that do not travel. I actually love this slide. What's Democrats' strategy to reshape their public perception? And I want to get into that because, a big part of public relations is reputation and transparency and honesty. And many people feel like the party was not being transparent and honest when Biden was at the top of the ticket. So if you guys can't see, the comment on this tweet says, can you read that? Remember that if you
to lie and dig in, it will work until it doesn't.
Yes, lying works until it doesn't. That's the point. Lying works until it doesn't. Go ahead, Chan.
I hate it. Like a lie will always be found out. Like I had a former client to say the truth does not need defending. You will have to defend that lie all the way to the grave. And you will have to backtrack and moonwalk backwards until the end of time, and it will live forever. So it's best just to go ahead and tell the truth and leave it at that. Because if you have a team that's willing to lie, that team is going to essentially sell you up the creek without pause. So there's that. So yeah, you can't double down on a lie after the truth is found out. So it's like it's best just to leave with truth. I mean, but we see campaigns who have not.
So what is the strategy to reshaping perception?
Well, I mean, we just saw one of the most swift rebrands that we've ever seen, with, the very swift, swapping out of Joe Biden for Kamala Harris. And it's unprecedented. I mean, we've seen somewhat similar things. It's not entirely unprecedented, and the rules certainly allow for it. But I mean, the party clearly decided they needed to go in a different direction. So that was one. And with Kamala, I mean, just in recent days and weeks, she has started to differentiate what her presidency would look like versus the existing presidency under Joe Biden. She has laid out a much more populist, progressive agenda than what we've seen with Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden, when you look at what he did in 4 years, if you like progressive policy, you should be a huge fan of what he's accomplished. That infrastructure package he was able to pass was massive. I mean, the first meaningful infrastructure package this country has seen in decades, in more than a generation. He got it done when nobody thought they would get it done. That was something Donald Trump had to run on and wasn't able to deliver. Joe Biden got it done. So Joe Biden was a very accomplished progressive presidency, but Kamala decided she's going to run even further to that side, and I think the party is embracing it. So when you look at her popularity since the switch is pulled off, she's pretty popular right now within the party.
So let me say this before we move on. Two things. One, for people that didn't like her before, sometimes you don't make the moment. Sometimes the moment makes her. I think she was shaped by this moment in time. Sometimes you are forced to step your game up. Sometimes you are forced to step into situations that you thought previously you were not ready for. Sometimes you have to rise to the occasion. And I 100% believe that this moment actually made her. That's one. Two, I think we have a cultural issue in the United States. I don't think that we are completely honest with our elders. That's the other thing. So, we lying to the public is one thing. Joe was saying folks haven't been completely honest with him. And I don't think Trump's people are completely honest with him either. At the same time, I don't think we're always honest with our elders. Like, listen, I had to take my grandma's keys and I lied about why I had to take them or why they were missing. Okay. I did not want to have this fight, but let's be honest about sometimes we're not even honest with the people that we're supposed to be honest about due to the fact that we don't know how they're going to act, react, or the circumstances surrounding that. Speak on it.
Witnessing a lot of meltdown from an elder right now as we are watching it in real time, a meltdown, and nobody's tapping that elder on the shoulders. We're like, no, we're not gonna say that. They're just letting it happen, and it's like that one
uncle
family dinner, the uncle that just cannot shut up and has ruined lives in the midst of family dinner on Thanksgiving. So I really wish we would be more honest with our elders, but also as a team operating with integrity. Like for them to allow that to happen, that means that they don't have the integrity to protect who they're paid to protect their image. And that's one of the things that a lot of these teams are missing. Like your job is to make sure that public image is as stellar as it can be because it lives forever. Like you know that you're setting the foundation for generations to come back and laugh. Okay, not laugh. Yeah, laugh at some of the things. And so it tarnishes their image forever. There are other things that are tarnishing it, but to have them really go down that slippery slope and they're just rolling down and they're just standing there watching it happen. It's just like, this is going to be studied too.
Yeah, but I mean, Kamala's team has been capitalizing off of it though, because they've been doing those cross-party communications while, Democrats historically would not even try to talk to those moderate Republicans or independents. They would just run their race. Now they're actually messaging and making sure that moderates understand how important it is to make sure they get out and vote. Independents are making sure they're getting out. They're attacking the labor unions, the environmental groups. They're finally looking at minority communities in the way that they should. So they're really getting that different interest in those economic groups and targeting them and trying to, build this message of hope. And so that's really what's driving them is now, you've had so many conservatives come out and now back Kamala. And it's like, whoa, they've never voted Democrat before in their life. And now they're saying they're going to. Now, I would love to see the receipts afterwards to see if they actually stuck to what they said. But that's a whole nother story because we know, like you said, a lot don't care who tell it. So they can walk in and vote something else just because they know we'll never know.
Right.
Brian, you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's important to acknowledge we're going to learn a lot more about this ticket over the next few days with the DNC kicking off in Chicago. It kicks off today. Um, when you rewind back to the RNC, several weeks ago, the Republicans got a lot of momentum from that RNC. I thought the RNC was well produced. They missed opportunities. Trump was coming off of high popularity. There was the assassination attempt, and they certainly played up to that. I think the PR people behind him set too high of expectations. They said that he was going to come out and try to unify the country, and then when he got his chance to talk, it sounded like the same old Donald Trump that we've known now for over a decade. As a politician. So they did miss a chance, but overall, I thought they came out winning that. Now, with Harris now, scrambling to put together, a new policy agenda, whatnot in a very brief period of time, it's going to be very telling what specific policy she rolls out and how she wants to position herself. You would think by what she's put out right now, she is going to play heavily to a populist progressive agenda. I think the base of the party is going to like that. These moderates that we talked about, we'll see how many of them she's able to appeal to as well. What she has going for her is that there are enough just never Trump people out there. So can she capture them to vote for her? We'll see what she does to appeal to them. But she certainly, I anticipate, going to play heavily to the base over the next few days.
I would like to say, like, her campaign, just the messaging alone, it's like, it's to be able to pay attention to so many different so many respond so seamlessly to some of the things that are going on. I'm sorry, I'm speechless, because I started voting back in 2000, and I've never seen a campaign turn around like this. And I know I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, if you're not following Kamala HQ on TikTok, you're missing out.
Very much so, because I think some state and local campaigns need to take a look at this and model their campaigns like this, because I see the turnout from my region. If they had this kind of mindset, more people would turn out to our state and local elections. I think this is just a season of showing how it can be done, and how comms and public relations is always constantly evolving because of the audiences, involving the voices that it's creating. And it's like, I'm so glad to be this is such a time.
Yeah.
Well, while we're here, let's then talk about the rollout of the VPs, because those were handled incredibly different.
Y'all have it, because
I'm
go ahead, fellas.
No, I'm
talk to us about cat ladies. No, I'm just kidding.
I think the rollout was, the vetting process on the Democratic side was much better than what it was on the Republican side. I think that when they picked I got to give them credit though. When they picked the VP race, they thought they were going to be running against Biden, so that's why they picked the person that they did. But Kamala and her team really took the time, because everybody thought it was going to be Gavin Newsom or Josh Shapiro. And I was out there, and if somebody looks at my tweets, I'll say it was Waltz. It's either going to be Walls or it's going to be Shapiro if it's got to be anybody else. But they vetted them appropriately and made sure that it was somebody that was going to add to the campaign, because Walls, when he gets on these trips, he got the crowd engaged, excited. You look at JD Vance, and it's like when Trump did that press conference, I thought he was going to fire JD Vance, because it was 2 days. It was 2 days before they could swap names on the ballot. So I was like, he called this press conference. He's finna get rid of Vance, but he's stuck with him now. And I think Vance is actually dragging his campaign down.
And that's the rule for VP selections: do no harm. Yeah. And Vance, I mean, I raised an eyebrow. When I saw the Vance pick, I thought that was a show of confidence from the Trump team. I was like, this is not a unifier. This is not a guy who's going to help you with two groups that Republicans absolutely need to do better in if they're going to win this election, which is minority voters and women voters.
Yep.
JD Vance is the not going to help you with any of that. I thought it was a vote of confidence. I thought it was Trump just saying, "We've got this. I'm going to pick my governing partner who is going to apparently do what Mike Pence wouldn't do for him."
Who hated him 2 years ago too.
It's
vice
a
president
scary thought.
didn't like him.
He wanted a man who has ambition over integrity, and that's who he got, in my opinion, with that JD Vance pick. On the other side, Kamala, she had two directions she could have gone in. She had Walz, who's going to appeal more to the progressive base, or a Josh Shapiro, who is, I'm here in Pennsylvania. He is the most popular politician here in Pennsylvania, a very moderate guy. You wouldn't believe how many Republicans here in Pennsylvania I talked to who are pro Shapiro, who voted for Josh Shapiro. Women in
I could see Josh Shapiro as a rapper. Like, I think he'd be dropping bars.
He is insanely popular. He would have locked in that Pennsylvania, electoral college, votes that they need to win this thing. But she chose to play more to the progressive base. I guess in some ways, the Walz pick was a confidence vote in her. She thinks she has Pennsylvania in the bag, and she's looking.
I don't know about that. I'm actually feeling like, let me just say this really quick. I feel like, because we're talking about vibes, we gotta bring in this new generation of people. Couple things. One is my kids will be voting in the next election. So I feel like they are looking at what the future of the party is going to be, right? Two, the vibe of the campaign. Mm-hmm. How do you combat negative, heavy, angry with positive, happy, joy? And if you look at it, adding Shapiro, as amazing as he is a fight. It's a fight. If you add Coach, you're adding motivation. You're adding, encouragement. I need people I need them encouraged to vote. I need to bring these people back in. So on some level, I do feel like the vibes of the campaign was a consideration. Last thing for me, I believe that, and you can tell me what you think, Biden actually knew he was going to withdraw before the Republican National Convention. He let them spend that money and get ready for him, knowing that it would knock them off of their rocker. I think this man has been doing this long enough to recognize how to upheaval an opponent. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you there. I think that President Biden knew that he was going to be dropping out the race, but he also knew that Trump had already spent $100 million in ads and those various things that they were going to run against him. So I think they knew, like, hey, let's go ahead and let him do what he's going to do and go from there. Plus, the RNC, I mean, I know people said he gained some momentum, but it was all about him. It wasn't about anybody else. Most of the other speakers, you don't even hear in their speeches being mentioned after the RNC or any of that. So Biden knew what he was doing, because if he had dropped out, then it would have been a complete different spin on everything.
Chan, thoughts? Where you at? Brian, thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, as far as Biden kind of knowing what he was doing, I haven't seen evidence of that, but I wouldn't rule that out, and that's how it played out. Part of the greater decision for Biden here was his legacy. There were a lot of other motivating factors for this playing out the way that it did. But his legacy was certainly something that he put thought into. So for him to be able to pull out in a way that disrupts the Trump campaign, that bodes well for his legacy. Listen, he ran to get Donald Trump out of office, and he was successful in that. If Donald Trump gets back in office the way that this plays out, that tarnishes the Biden legacy. If Biden is successful in ending this MAGA movement, that will bode well for his Democratic legacy.
Yep.
And I think that's what has Trump so angry right now, too, is he doesn't have a chance to beat Biden. I think he's more mad that he can't beat Biden, and that Biden will be able to step away now and be able to say, Trump didn't beat me, never could. And I think that's what Trump is most upset about right now. His main thing was that he wanted to be able to say, I came back and I beat Biden. He doesn't get that opportunity now. So now he's stuck running just against Kamala, and now he doesn't know what to do.
I think both of them are mad about it. Both of them wanted that rematch.
His whole campaign was built around beating Biden. Like every message he had was sleepy Joe, like all of those things. Like he did not like it was, I'm only going after it because I have to beat this man. And it's like, but you didn't create a platform to, but okay. We see the spiral now, y'all. So let's just watch the show.
See the spiral.
And when you look at the psyche of Donald Trump, I mean, this is a man who will never admit losing. And will not accept it and will continue to fight. Rewind all the way back. Remember when him and Rosie O'Donnell were getting in those epic name calling matches back and forth and whatnot? He always had to have the last word. He's that guy. I mean, he's that kid. When you were beating him at a board game, he'd knock the game off the table so you couldn't win.
I was just about to say
that is this man's psyche. So the fact that Joe Biden took control and is pulling out as a winner, or at least that's how he's positioning it, that has to get under Donald Trump's skin.
It is.
So again, we'll see, but certainly I think that the psyche of this candidate is as it always does, is going to end up dominating a lot of the conversations closer to election day.
Mm-hmm. So what is Kamala Harris's brat rebrand all about? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's made to appeal. Her team that she brought in, they were ready. They were really ready. Like they were ready, y'all. I mean,
you know what's really cool? The coolest part about this, and for people to understand public relations, recognizing that she didn't do this. The owner of the brat term did that. So, again, it's the difference between marketing and PR. Marketing is you telling people how amazing you are. PR is other people telling other people how amazing you are. So for this young artist to take her term and label Kamala Harris, it gave her a very young vibe. It took the old out of the election and it brought in a whole new fan base. And Kamala and her team didn't even do that. The girl, the artist, did that.
It's being able to, they capitalize on speaking that language, and they knew what it was. It's like, I'm just looking at the trend. I'm like, the transition from that. It's like that should be studied. It's like they brought in, and then all of the celebrities and influencers that jumped on without even being prompted. It was just like a wave that started, and then it kept going, and then for her team to fall in line. Okay, like a it was a beautiful dance to see the unfolding to keep going. So, oh my God.
I just hope with this kind of rebrand, they don't miss this magic moment, though. We have yet to hear from Kamala's family, her dad. Like when she was being called and not, looked at as not being Black, they've been very silent. And I think that's the part that their team is missing right now. So they have the rebrand, they're connecting with those younger folks, but they need to merge that middle ground to have her parents and those people come forward. I don't think we've ever heard from them. Her pastor kind of jumped in there and kind of saved her and talked about her upbringing, but we have not heard from her family.
Have we? But that has never been a thing. Even during the past election, we didn't really hear from him. But I think her parents' generation, they're not going to mince words. So I think they're trying to prep them just right because.
I mean, they both went to prestigious universities and had careers and everything, but it's shocking that in that moment, because that's the one person that I would have wanted to come and defend me in that moment. I have a black dad who could step up right then and say, my daughter's black. That's all he would have had to say. Is more or less in bringing it from that way. So a lot of people are still criticizing that side.
But black fathers and their daughters, he could have gone to a prestigious and did all the other stuff. But you attacking my child. So sometimes, that whole, you try to bite your tongue, but I know my dad, as educated as he was, and as put together, you're not going to attack his child. And he'll put all that to the side and defend his, and so it's like,
I would love to hear it though. I would love to
hear the
dad mantra come, because I think it's needed, and it will bring even further that realization of the state of where we're at now. We're not in the old days of where everything was just done on TV, and it can be done in all different platforms. So even a tweet or anything from his team could have just kind of solved that up.
I would say perhaps a family moment that's captured would be a great thing, like having a family conversation, just a real one, sitting at the table or sitting around like they do. And that would give that side that people could connect to. But he's an older black man, and I'm just going to tell you now.
Hey, if there was ever time for Jada to do some good, I would bring the whole family to the red table and let them have that talk. And I guarantee you, if they were to do that and just have that realization conversation just around the colorism, I guarantee you that would take her ratings and her polling through the roof, just because she would further connect with those people.
I agree with that.
So let's talk to the people a little bit about ad spend and what the ads that are popping up in there, because it's not just TV anymore. It's their ads popping up on their YouTube. It's their ads popping up on their Instagram. It's their ads popping up on their Facebook. What is ad spend telling us as the public?
Yeah, so one thing that I've noticed here, and I'm seeing a lot of this being in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia feels like the center of the universe right now, because it's going to be very consequential to who becomes the next president. So I'm seeing a lot of the ad spends. They're spending more in Pennsylvania and specifically Philadelphia than they are the vast majority of the country. One thing that I have noticed is I'm seeing a ton of spending on both sides on streaming networks. So, anytime I go to those free channels that you get with your LG TV or whatnot, all of those free streaming platforms, they are raking in political ad spend money right now. And good for them, because they have built up their viewership. But most people I talk to have cut the cord, now, within the past several years. And the money is showing that there are major audiences that they want to tap into there. So that's the biggest thing that stands out to me. Certainly, I'm seeing the ads on all of the local news syndicates. It's coming through on the cable channels as well. But I'm seeing, honestly, more political ads than not when I go to those free streaming networks.
Yeah,
but I think what you're seeing too is a lot of the super PACs now are stepping up versus the actual campaigns. So that's allowing a little different of a reach too, because campaign finance laws, you can only spend so much in ads, but by giving the money to these PACs, they're not kind of tied into that. And then you got to track that return on investment. And I don't know when they're going to be able to see that or what digital metrics they're seeing right now, but they're actually being able to track that by having it show up. And I can see that streaming services, as well as, your Reels and your TikToks, they're really taking advantage of that right now.
and they're migrating. I don't see any ad spend on X, so I do think that the actual pivot, like you said, this free streaming services and stuff like that. I was a part of a political commercial, and it did not air on regular. It aired on the Spectrum. It aired on other platforms that were free that people actually did watch, and it did impact that election. So I do think that those super PACs are coming in, and they're saving the day, and they're really doing their they're doing their jobs.
Absolutely. If you guys want any more insights like that or things to think about from a PR perspective, you can always visit Prowly's website or check them out on LinkedIn. I want to thank them for these. But can we talk about AI? Can we get into this mess? Brian, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah. So last week, Mr. Musk, owner of what used to be Twitter, now called X, his AI platform. This is for paid subscribers, which I have to be one. He rolled out Grok 2.0. This is his generative AI product built into X that now can do image creation. The difference between this and what you're going to get from OpenAI and all the other, programs and applications that link to OpenAI is that they all have filters. What we're looking at right here on the screen is unfiltered generative AI. Clearly, we can see the problems that arise from a copyright standpoint, from a graphic image standpoint. I mean, when you see, Ronald McDonald, Pikachu, Goofy, I mean, Disney, certainly doesn't love that. And I'm sure their attorneys have been working overtime ever since it came out. This was rolled out last week. Now, what I will say is just since the rollout and all the backlash, because I've seen some crazy images over the past several days people are doing. People are seeing how graphic and gory they can make these things.
Man.
I have seen some filters being applied now. But this is still, even with the few filters that have been added, this is largely unfiltered, what they've rolled out. So you all can apply, and I'm pretty blown away by it.
I don't even, Disney has enough problems on their hands right now. Now they have to deal with this. Oh gosh! When you said it was Musk's, and I already knew it was going to be an unfiltered mess. Like the users that are on X now are their minds and where they go is far off the deep end. So this doesn't surprise me, but it also kind of scares me in a way because individuals are literally creating these images that will inspire different minds to go different ways. And it's like, I have no words. I'm sorry. This is crazy. Because it's like from the mind of a madman. This is what this Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Let your AI images show who you really are as a person.
That's what it is.
I love
That's
it.
exactly what it is. Like it's just going to continue to get worse, and people are paying for this.
Yeah,
it's amazing what stupidity can buy. I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, it's a part of your Twitter Premium kind of thing that you get as far as having Twitter Premium, so that you didn't have ads and that kind of stuff that you got access to. So they just added Grok onto there, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean,
somebody people are paying for Twitter.
Yeah, people try to use an AI image to get out of work. The dude put his picture in there and said to put him in a hospital bed, and you could tell. And I'm just like, I know. Please tell me you didn't submit this picture to your boss to say I can't come to work today. Because it's just like these AI images are just getting so crazy.
Out of pocket. Just out of pocket.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, just call in sick. You gotta have sick days. Like you being in the hospital shouldn't matter. Hey, boss, I'm sick. I'm not coming to work.
If you have to do that, that is not a place you need to work. Okay, that's all. If you have to create an AI generated image for you to get out of work, just quit. Just let it go.
But I mean, it's making it now to where you don't really know what you're seeing, because I know when Kamala had the big rally and her plane showed up, they tried to take a picture off the plane and show the reflection that nobody was there and say that her video was AI generated. And it's like you can see different angles from the news was live when she got there. So you're telling me Fox News put an AI video in front? No, like come on. But now it's trying to question everything.
And that's a good point too, because I mean, now that we know this technology exists, I think people are going to believe what they want to believe. If they want the image they're seeing to be true, they're going to, in their minds, convince themselves it's true.
Yeah.
Even if the person's got 6 or 7 fingers, they're gonna, in their mind, say, "I want that to be true. That has to be a legitimate picture." And if they see something they don't want to believe, same thing. They are going to say, "Well, that has to be fake."
I mean, you have a whole
choose your own reality.
You have a whole demographic of people who didn't believe the election was true. So there's the caliber of the mind is questionable at this moment. So
it is. But I want to make sure that we know. I have a picture, and it's not AI generated. For those that do not or are not sure if Kamala Harris has always been Black, this is a picture of her with her sorority sisters, the first Black sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And she pledged at Howard University, a Black college. So I'm still confused as to how this is even in question. But again, Chandra just said the election is still in question by some people, which is absolutely ridiculous. I want y'all to talk to the people about being independent thinkers, doing their research, and verifying information. Why is that important in this moment that we are in right now?
Oh, this is exhausting. This is so exhausting. It's like, I don't even understand why that is so far-fetched to believe that these images are real or these images are fake. Like even the ones with the
oh no.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of weird that you have to say this is a real image, this is a fake image, this is a real image, and it's stressful, y'all. I don't even know. It's like you can see that this is a real image from a yearbook or things that are printed, and it's like for people to have this thought process that they plant the seed of it's not real and they run with it.
Plant a seed of doubt. That's what they do.
And it's amazing on how even with the assassination attempt, even though we are seeing real pictures after the fact, real videos after the fact, and we're still, I can't.
I think we should probably not talk about the assassination
attempt
unless you really want to get into that whole kerfluffle.
Nope, I don't even want to go there because my mind. I know you all can see my face.
Daniel.
It's
and your thoughts, your advice, Daniel?
I can't, I got gray hairs just from trying to figure all this stuff out with this election season and cycle has just been crazy. So AI being a part of it now, and just it's just, like you said, you're trying to believe what you won't see, but then you gotta, look at what you see and be like,
not so sure.
Is that really what I'm looking at? Because you gotta look again and double take and be like, wait a minute, that's off a little bit, that's blurry. And I guess me having a design background kind of works in there, because then I look at an image and I'm like, oh, that's AI. And people are like, how do you know off rip? And I'm like, that font is off, that's off, this is off. And they're like, oh. And I'm like,
it's not matching.
It's not matching.
The extra fingers, the extra feet, the extra eyes.
I put it to you like this. If something that you are looking at is a jaw dropper, the first thing you need to do is check authenticity. Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yeah,
100%.
If it's an aha moment, check authenticity first before you believe it, before you post, before you repost. Just check and make sure that what you are looking at is actually real. Most of the time, if it's something that grabbed your attention or is unbelievable, it probably is not to be believed.
People who are actually using AI generated images for like headshots and things of that nature, I'm I'm sorry that this was introduced to the world. I'm sorry. Like certain things should not be given to everybody. Just this. That's all I'm gonna say because
Shoot, like you need to take a permit test to be able to use this AI. Y'all tripping.
it's going too far. And I now that the thing with Twitter, what I'm not even gonna try
Grok
to remember the name
2.0.
Grok. Okay, that shouldn't have never been the 1.0. But my thing is this: it's like it's
When it first came
given.
out, I was like, Grok. Oh, Gronkowski ain't got nothing to do. He done retired. Now he acting silly on Twitter. Oh no, this is AI. Okay, great.
I have just it's I, people who have no business having access to this. It's just that's why we're here now.
In the
We
situation
are.
now, Brian, you want to close this one out?
Yeah, I will say, this goes back to a point I made earlier. I mean, people want to believe what they want to believe, especially when politics are involved. And I'm going to be fair. I mean, I'll give you an example. There was a post that went viral and got repeated a number of times that proved to be inauthentic. It was a post somebody claimed to be a chapter from J.D. Vance's book where he had relations with a couch. And this even got repeated, but in the VP's acceptance speech or whatnot.
Yes, it did.
That was not true, but it was, but it worked because it was actually believable, and a lot of us wanted it to be true.
But
it was hilarious. First of all, it was
right.
hilarious.
But it was not true. So a lot of, I'm not just saying one side of the aisle or another is susceptible to it. Humans, especially when humans have a horse in the race, they are susceptible to believing what they want to be true.
Yeah.
So I think all of us need to have some self-awareness and that extra step of due diligence before we repeat some of this stuff, because we are going to see a lot of fake news and a lot of fake images and a lot of propaganda between now and election day.
And don't forget this.
I don't want to be on the side spreading any propaganda, even if it helps, the candidate that I'm rooting for.
Hey, I actually have fake news blocked on all platforms. If you use that phrase in your tweet or anything, I don't even want to see it because I'm tired of the whole phrase.
He said fake news is blocked.
That's a key word. I totally agree with. I totally have. There's certain words that I've blocked from my news feed, and I'm so much better. Like my mind is at ease because I don't even. Social media is necessary, but I'm good. It's just. I'm sorry, but based on what that man has said, you gotta kind of certain things.
Filter yourself.
If your team has not put a foundation for things like that it's all on how your public image is. So we have to watch that.
Yeah. So before we get out of here, Daniel, we'll start with you. Let everybody know what you're up to, what to look out for, and how they can keep in touch.
Look out for the Aqua Media Group rebrand, launching some new things that are going to be coming. I'm about to be busy as I don't know what, because after August 20th in Florida, after the primaries, then I'll really know which candidates I got to beef it up for and get things going. And then football season is about to start. So I have a couple NFL players that I have as clients. So if my eyes ain't red right now, they about to be. So it's been an onslaught. It's been crazy going through a rebrand at the same time as clients ramping up. So y'all pray for me.
Always in my prayers, kiddo. Brian?
Yep. Follow me on X, Brian Hart PR. I'm also easy to find on LinkedIn. This fall, I've got some pretty cool client campaigns lined up. I'm working on a book, hoping to get that tightened up and ready to publish in the new year. And I've been doing some investigative reporting. You can find all of that on X. And always happy to connect.
Love that. Chan?
Well, I am gearing up to launch an app, and you will see the rollout coming soon. And also, I have some amazing clients who are doing some amazing things, so you'll see me sharing them more. I'm excited the growth of my firm, but also just in general learning so much. And I hope you all follow and check me out and look at my amazing clients. And I love. Thank you, Tanya, for having me on, because I'm professional.
But
Even in the most serious moments. Absolutely.
I love it.
always.
Hey, you
Well,
see what the shirt says? I don't know if you can see it, but be
What is
bold,
it?
be awkward.
I know I like your
Yes.
T-shirt, by the way.
Yeah, it's my company brand. So if you want one, let me know. I'll send you one out. Just
I do. I'll be DMing you. Yes, I will. Thanks.
yeah, DM
You
me
So,
know I
your
want a
size.
good T-shirt with a
Yeah, just
slogan on it.
DM
You
me
know
your
I like
size. I got you.
I love that. All right. So, really quick, Leaders and Learners, the platform, has taken another spin. Outside of our PR perspectives, we are focused on California. So, all of our guests will have to have some type of connection to California, whether it's politics or if you're in entertainment, if you live here, if your product has an impact on California. I've realized that as long as I've been doing this, one thing remains the same. I am California born and bred, born in the Bay, live in LA, and everything about California is me. So I definitely want, those that are on the pod to make sure that they have some kind of connection to California. I'm an LA County commissioner and I care. I care about this community. I care about the content that I'm putting out, and I want to make sure that everybody is getting something impactful from it. So, PR Perspectives will be weekly. We will be here every week talking about what's hot, what's not, and all things culture, politics, entertainment. There's so much for us to lean into. And y'all know I love public relations. It's important though, because people don't really understand it. So I feel like our conversations lend to helping them understand. On top of, there's a big portion of young PR professionals that still, they studied it in school, but they really don't know how to apply it. And our conversations help them digest the bigger parts of public relations and media relations. So always looking to be some contribution to the community that has supported me, and hopefully that will continue to support those on the show. And I'm really, really thankful that you guys trust me with your voices, with your image, your likeness, and your companies, because your brand is important. So again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for being a part of this journey and loving what you do enough to do it well and teach others to do it well. It's important. Our industry depends on people like us. So again, I want to thank you guys for being here, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds great.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for showing up to the podcast where we
Until next time. Peace, love.
are lifetime learners. When you get us